I'd like to welcome everyone to the reorganizational meeting of the Board of Education for Tuesday, July 2nd. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call our two newly elected board members to take their oath, Kathleen Collins and Brian Michaels.
According to the best of my ability.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call for nominations for President of the Board of Education. Larry?
Nominated as well.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay, I'd like to call a vote to have Mr. Barchet, President of the School Board. Motion, Mr. Escrino, second, Dr. Cravo. All in favor? 7-0?
6-0.
Oh, 6-0.
Abstain. Thank you. I will call the election of nominations for the election of Vice President. I will nominate Mr. Rob Scarito. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Cravo. Any other nominations for Vice President? Seeing none, all those in favor of the election of Mr. Scarito as our Vice President? Abstentions? 6-0. Congratulations. Mr. Scarito abstains. Oh, yeah. Okay. Same time. I, David Barchet, do solemnly swear that I support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of President according to the best of my ability. Number 5 on the agenda is the appointment of the district clerk. This is the designation of Lori George as our district clerk for the school year 24-25. I will make a motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Scarito. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 7-0. Congratulations. President will administer the oath of office of district clerk. I will ask my vice president to administer that oath, please. You good? You good?
Yes. I, Lori D. George, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of district clerk according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. And now the district clerk will administer the oath of office to the superintendent of schools, Dr. Murphy.
I, Don Murphy, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of superintendent of schools according to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. Number 7 on the agenda is questions and comments concerning the reorganizational agenda only. Do any community members have any questions or comments? So numbers 8 through 44 are the consent agenda items for the reorganizational agenda only. Are there any matters that members would like to have removed? I will remove item 14, the appointment of our chief school district physician. Any other items that members would like to have removed? Call a motion to approve the reorganizational consent agenda, 8 through 44, minus number 14. I'll make a motion. Mr. Scrivo seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Number 14 was severed by me. I'll make a motion to table number 14 to our next meeting. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Scrivo. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. I'll make a motion to adjourn the reorganizational portion of the meeting. I'll make a motion. Mr. Scrivo seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 7-0. Number 45 on the agenda is the Code of Conduct public hearing. Mr. Tasman.
Good evening, everyone. This is our annual Code of Conduct meeting. For any changes that have happened to the Code of Conduct, we need to have a public hearing to address those changes. So tonight, I just wanted to go over what the Code of Conduct Committee does. We meet annually to review our Code of Conduct. Members of the Code of Conduct Committee include our principals, our board members, Mr. Scarito, Mr. Kiley, Mr. Buscarino, were part of the Code of Conduct committee this year. The current Code of Conduct and all its changes are reviewed by our school district attorney and make sure that the code is aligned with all laws that are needed. And tonight we have our public hearing to go over those changes, and then our Code of Conduct will be adopted at our next board meeting. So here are the changes to our current Code of Conduct. These changes will be online for everyone to see, and we'll make sure that we have a short version as board members. If you don't have this, so make sure you get this to you as soon as possible. But we're revising the Code of Conduct under prohibited student conduct. We're going to add language that states it's prohibited student conduct in school or in school sanctioned, on school sanctioned trips and excursions. Okay, so currently it just says prohibited student conduct is in school. We're adding on school sanctioned trips and excursions. We're also adding specific language regarding drawing or writing or speaking about weapons, guns, knives, etc., in a threatening and or harassing manner that disrupts the normal operations of the school community. We're adding language about threatening to bring a weapon into school, all right, to make a kind of a threat to do it. We're adding language in the Code of Conduct to address that. And we're revising language regarding our possession of smoking and vape materials and paraphernalia. We're adding vape charges, vape wrappers, other drug and vape paraphernalia. We have a zero tolerance for anything connected to vape or tobacco products in school. We want to make sure that the code covers all. It's a wide range. It covers everything that we need to cover. So these are the additions that we have in the Code of Conduct. Again, the Code of Conduct is a living and breathing document. We review it annually to ensure that the health and safety of our students and our community is in our first priority. Are there any questions on these changes or the process with the Code of Conduct? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the community concerning the Code of Conduct? I'll take a motion to close the public hearing. Thank you, Mrs. Scarito. I will second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. And 46 on the business portion of the meeting, which is where we begin right now. Business portion of the meeting. 46 is superintendent's update comments. Dr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Barchet. Thank you to those in attendance for coming tonight. Just quickly, we just wrapped up another school year, and as is always the case, the last couple of weeks of the year are a whirlwind, but it's culminating with our moving up ceremonies for our elementary students and our middle school students, and then of course the grand event on the football field for our class of 2024 commencement ceremony. It was a flawless season. So thank you to our principals. Thank you to our distinguished alumnus, Mr. Curry, who gave a tremendous speech at graduation. Thank you to the board for being in attendance at these events. It's really the best that the district has to offer. It's always just such a pleasure to be at these events. And then lastly, we're starting a new school year here tonight. But before we do that, I encourage all of our students and our Hauppauge families to enjoy all that the summer has to offer here on Long Island. And of course, starting with the 4th of July this week. So hopefully you get to see some fireworks with your families and at a barbecue, or get into the pool, get to the beach, whatever you can do. But all our families, I wish well for a restful summer with the families and friends, board members included. So thank you so much. Thanks, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. Number 47 on the agenda is the adoption of minutes from the business community meeting of June 4th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Mr. Cerrito moves. Dr. Kraft. I'm sorry. Mr. Cerrito made the motion, Dr. Kraft has seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Number 48 on the agenda is questions and answer period regarding tonight's agenda. Only do any members of the community have any questions concerning tonight's business portion agenda? 49 through 50 on the agenda is our consent agenda for our 49 through 52 for our regular business meeting. Do any board members have any items that they'd like to have removed from the consent agenda? Mr. Buscarino?
50C2 and 3, please.
50C2 and 3. I will remove 50C5. Anyone else? So for our newer board members, typically this is where if you have, if you want to be heard on an individual item, or if you have a potential conflict or any other reason that you'd be abstaining, you remove it from the consent agenda at this point. That is, I believe, why Mr. Buscarino has removed his item and I have removed mine. So any other items that members would like to have removed from the consent agenda? With that, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda less 50C2 and 3 were removed by Mr. Buscarino and 50C5 removed by Ms. Barche. Thank you, Mr. Cerrito. I will second a discussion. All those in favor? 7-0. Calling 50C2, Ms. Buscarino, any reason to handle 2 and 3 individually?
No.
So I'll call them together. 50C2 and 3, the appointment of swim program staff at the high school and the appointment of swim program individual lessons at the high school. I will make the motion. Mr. Cerrito seconds. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0-1. Ms. Buscarino abstaining. 50C5, the appointment of all coaching staff at the high school. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Cerrito. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Kraft. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0-1. Ms. Barche abstaining. That concludes our consent agenda. There are no policies on the agenda tonight. I did not see committees, which I'll do now. We'll out of order. Yeah, it is, but I missed it before, so I'm going out of order now. So every year, the board establishes committees, standing committees, and also pro hoc committees. These are all committees that we've had in the past. The president of the board is charged with seating the committees, and the committees are charged with electing a permanent chair and setting their meeting schedule. So I'm just going to run through it. The audit committee, I'm going to ask Mr. Kiley, Mr. Cerrito, and Ms. Collins to serve on that. I'm going to appoint Ms. Collins as the temporary chair of that committee and ask her to hold a meeting before our next meeting to establish a permanent chair and report back to the board at that point. The board policy committee is going to be me, Mr. Cerrito, and Mr. Michaels. That's okay with you, sir? And I will appoint Mr. Michaels as the temporary chair and ask him to hold a meeting or call a meeting of the board policy committee before our next meeting for the purpose of electing a permanent chair. The Islip Town School Board Association Representatives Committee, I'm going to ask Ms. Collins to serve on that committee. You are alone and you are automatically the chair, so congratulations. The steering committee will be myself and Dr. Murphy. Again, the HIDH committee will be Dr. Kraft for the 10th year in a row. Congratulations. The Code of Conduct Committee is Mr. Cerrito, Mr. Michaels, and Mr. Bustarino. I'm going to appoint Mr. Bustarino as the temporary chair of that committee and ask him to hold a meeting for the purpose of appointing a permanent chair and setting the meeting schedule. The Safety Committee is Mr. Bustarino, and I'm going to ask Mr. Michaels again to serve on that committee. I'm going to appoint Mr. Bustarino as the temporary chair and ask him to hold a meeting for the purposes of electing a permanent chair. And I'm going to ask Mr. Kiley to serve as an alternate on that committee. Thank you. The Facilities Committee, Dr. Trappa and Ms. Collins and Mr. Kiley. I'm going to ask to serve on that committee. I'm going to appoint Dr. Trappa as the temporary chair and ask him to hold a meeting for the purposes of electing a permanent chair and set the meeting schedule for the year. Curriculum Instruction and Technology Committee is going to be myself. I'm going to appoint also community member Jenna Salvia to that committee, and I'm going to ask Dr. Murphy to reappoint the rest of that committee through appointments of assistant superintendents and those that are involved in those items, curriculum instruction and technology. I'm going to appoint myself as the temporary chair of that committee, and I'm going to direct myself to have a meeting for the purposes of electing a permanent chair and set the meeting schedule for the year. And the bond subcommittee was me and Dr. Murphy. I will continue that. And community members John Sapstano and Ms. Tracy Ryan are also going to be community co-chairs on that committee. And Ms. Sienna will be on that committee as well. Ms. Sienna, you are the permanent chair of that committee and will set the meeting schedule. That concludes the health and safety.
It's on there twice.
It's on, say it again, Mike?
It's on there twice.
Show me where.
Got it. Thank you. So,
Jason.
got it.
Well, I just want to make sure, what was the confusion?
Yeah, did you go over district-wide health and safety?
District-wide health and safety.
Facility.
Facilities, yes, yes. Facility committee was Ms. Collins, Dr. Kraft, and Mr. Kiley as the alternate.
Got it, thank you.
Is that on your list as a different title?
I have Jay's district-wide.
Okay. I'm just going by my handout here. I see it. Yeah, it's different. The district clerk will make any changes to the names as needed, but those appointments are set. Discussion matters. There's an error on the agenda. There's some text under discussion matters, number 54, that should be under number 56. There are no discussion matters today. New business. Do any board members have new business? Mr. Cerrito?
Dr. Murphy?
Yes.
Looking with somebody in charge, we know the McDonald's is out of business right there on 111, and they've boarded that up and there's no trespassing. Unfortunately, I feel that the Italian restaurant now, the old Pizza Hut, is out of business. So my concern is with summer school and stuff like that, and kids have nothing else to do, we have another thing that's not secure. So if we
Sure.
look into that or put somebody into that, they did a good job on McDonald's.
Yeah, Chris, will you speak to Pat and explore that a little further and report back to me?
Okay. Thank you.
Do any board members have any other new business? I just want to congratulate Ms. Collins and Mr. Michaels for their election to the Board of Education. Do any other board members have any other new business? Does administration have any new business? Dr. Murphy?
Yeah, just quickly, I just wanted to thank Ms. Brophy, who's here in the audience, who joined us in, for our launch meeting before this meeting, for some learning and some competition and some food. Has stayed now for the meeting, so we thank you so much for joining us and talking to the board about AI and the implications for not just Hauppauge, but for the world. It was very informative.
Nightmares that cause globes.
And then secondly, I just wanted to acknowledge on the personal action report, we have a young teacher here in attendance, Richard, who the board approved the personal action report, and he will be starting with Hauppauge in the fall, and it's great that you're here tonight for this board.
Any other new business from administration? Questions, comments from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? Yes. Please, if you would, just so people at home can hear. Okay. So this portion of our meeting is for the public to comment on anything related to the district whatsoever. It is normally limited to 3 minutes.
First, I want to thank the district for adding the format here for pre-K, specifically Dr. Murphy. I don't know if you had a part in that, but I know we spoke on that, so I really appreciate it a lot. I don't know if
I'm glad it worked out.
people, but just the fact that you looked into that really means a lot to me. The other thing I came for was New York State's proposed mixed competition rules. There's a couple districts that wrote letters already. I'm not really sure what the rules are, but they're saying it's opening up opportunities for girls to play on boys teams and vice versa. And my daughter's going to middle school, she plays soccer and flag football, so clearly that worries me. I don't know if that's something the district is,
It is on the board's radar and the administration's radar, and that's Dr. Murphy's comments on
Yeah,
it.
so July 22nd is when the period ends for comments and all that. So I would just to get clarity on it too, because it's not really clear exactly what's happening. And then the last thing I came for was the change to the regions for graduation. So I know that they're thinking of canceling the regions tests, which I'm not necessarily against canceling the exams, although I do think kids should be able to have the 2 options to do that or not. It's more about what they're replacing it with, which is a bunch of DEI requirements, where they have to be culturally competent, civically, all these different things that I don't really know much about, but it doesn't sound really good. So that's another thing that's a big issue. That starts July to November, the public comment period for that. So I'm not really sure if we have any say-so in that, if that's something that's decided on already, but I don't really know, I guess, so that's why I'm here.
Sure, so the first item, we've had a lot of conversations about the mixed competition item. Mr. Butler, our athletic director, is involved in all that for Section 11 of the New York State NYSPH SAA. What's the way to say that? No, isn't there a nickname for it? I'm sorry, New York State Public High School Athletic Association. They've come out with some concerns that are shared by us as well, and I'm in touch with the board about all of that. The regions will not be acting until September. You're right on your dates, I believe. I don't have it in front of me. You sound right. You normally are about the public comment period. So there are definitely between Section 11 and the New York State Athletic Association, they kind of share much of the same summary of concerns about what the impact would be, most specifically on our female students, their ability to participate, or would they be marginalized in some way. So we are having those discussions, and I know members of the board have a vested interest in that conversation as well. The second item, the Blue Ribbon Commission, to your point, came out with a bunch of recommendations. They undertook a year-long investigation into what what could the region's exit exams look like in the future? And there's still a lot of questions about that, but I anticipate that I'll be updating the community as we learn more. There could be, like some districts, I'm thinking of Baldwin, for example, they've been tasked with almost piloting like performance-based assessments as a potential replacement for a Regents exam. As you can imagine, and I think this is why your antennas are up, there's so many questions related to that. What could that look like? There could be merit to that, kids learn in different ways, but for now, we just have to understand all of the potential outcomes here. I'm in my superintendent circles, we're talking about this incessantly, and that one I see a very long timeline on because there's so many questions, but we will definitely update the community because of all the questions that are probably on your mind, we have those and so many more. So two very important topics. Not surprised to see you talking about that. Thanks, Doug.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tara. Any other questions or comments from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? Just to backtrack one moment on the new business, I just want to mention the moving up ceremonies and the graduation went off without a hitch everywhere. And I want to specifically commend Mr. Whitehorse and the high school administration and staff over there for what was, I think, a great ceremony, great commencement. And, you know, since we started doing these graduations outdoors, it's been such a great experience for the kids and really for us, and I hope we continue to do it. And again, it went off without a hitch, so congratulations to them and all our graduates. Anything further from anyone related to the district whatsoever? Any questions or comments concerning anything? Very well. Our next meeting is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. It is a business and community meeting. I will take a motion. 58 will be our adjournment. I'll take a motion for the adjournment. Thank you, Mr. Scarito. I will second. Any discussion? First time you're allowed to. All right. That's right. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 7-0. We are adjourned. God bless the United States of America. God bless Hauppauge. Thank you.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.